everybody, Renee Blaine, the Southern Bobbin, exclusive designer for the Quilted Cow. They are a wonderful quilt shop located in Branson, West Missouri. You can find them on the internet at www.thequiltedcow.com. Anything and everything that you see I used in my tutorial videos, you can find on their website. If you go to their search bar, put in my name, Renee, R-E-N-A, everything that I love and that I use will come up. If it's out of stock, then it may not be there, or if they do not offer it, which that's typically going to be big things like an iron. But, you know, the wool mats, my pearl presser, my rock sand basting glue in the 2-ounce, they have it all amongst other things that I've asked them to add to the search so that you can find it easier. Today's tutorial, we're going to be working with the Pellon 906F fusible shear weight. It's a little hack to get some perfect points, and I hope it works for you. So let me put the camera down to my workstation. So what we're going to do, we'll bring this over. This is one that I kind of worked with first. You're going to be putting blocks onto this interfacing to get some perfect points. There's some popular companies out there that does the printable interfacing that's a quilt as you go. This is the same method, but you're going to be doing your own. And once you get them all down, you fold it. It just folds perfectly, and you do your 1/4 inch seam, and then you go to your next line and next. But I'm going to show you how to do all of that. Some people that does this hack, they go ahead and draw on their interfacing. Well, if you have 36 blocks, guess what? You're drawing this 36 times. You can take a piece of paper, which this block is oversized, especially with it being on point. I just added a little piece of tape down at the bottom. This is regular copier paper. And then I knew I was working with 2.5 inch squares. So I just drew my template out for the first time. These are like granny squares on point. So they're just cross hatches. And then I only have to draw this one time. And when you put your interfacing on it, you can see through it. So you don't have to draw it over and over again. But for today's tutorial, so it goes a little bit quicker, we are going to make a 4-patch. Does not have to be anything fancy. I just did a bunch of 2.5 inch squares, and I know 4 of them together is going to be my 4-patch. So put your interfacing facing up, and if you fill it, one side is going to be smooth, the other side is going to be a little rough. The rough side is what has the adhesive on it, so you want it to be faced up. Make sure that you have your template straight. Put your interfacing on it to where it's going to be about 1/2 inch on each side. If you have a little more, that's fine, but you don't want too much. I have a weight that I use for my rulers, so I just put that right up on top, so that way my interfacing does not move anywhere. It is held down. So I have my squares, and I'm going to just put them down the way that the block is designed in the pattern that you are using. So for this 4-patch, I am just putting down 2.5 inch blocks, and it's going to look like this when I get done. I'm a little OCD, so I have to have my patterns going the same way. I want these to be horizontal and these vertical, even though I'm really not even going to use this. Okay, one of the biggest things that you want to watch out for, and I always use my stiletto to make sure that I get them perfectly straight, is you do want it within your blocks so that you know they are straight, but you do not want these overlapping one another. See how I have just a little bit of a white in between? That's what you want to see, because that's going to make it easier when you go to fold it over. Use a stiletto to get your little micro moves to get it exactly where you want it. So now that patch is exactly where I want it. So I'm going to use a piece of Teflon because I do not want, you know, all this adhesive to get on my iron. And now that I put this on it, I can see that this block here actually needs to come down just a little bit. Now, sometimes if you didn't cut your square exactly right, that could be the reason it's higher than all the others. And actually it was this one. There we go. So, once you do it a few times, you get the hang of it and it won't be quite so daunting. So I'm just going to reach right up under here, ever so gently, pull out my template, get it out of my way, and adhere all of this down onto my interfacing. Before I lift up this Teflon, I'm going to let it cool down just a minute, more so on the interfacing than anything else. All right, I had a pause for a minute there. The joys of doing a video in family's home. I'm trying to remember where I was at, but I believe I got this all adhered down and we was letting it cool. So I'm just going to ever so gently pull my Teflon off. And there we go. We have it. So now I can move that, move my mat, and I always just shorten this down. You only need like a quarter to maybe an eighth is what I leave on for the interfacing when you go to sew it. So let me get all of that cut. So there we go. And see, I got enough there to where I could do another 4 patch if I wanted, so on and so forth. But remember on this one, when I was saying that I would fold it, sew it, fold it and sew it, well, it's the same on here, but we just have 2 folds. So what I would do first is fold it this way and sew it, and then fold it this way and sew it. So let me go ahead and get one side sewed down and I'll be right back. All right, so what I did is I just did a 1/4 inch seam, just like if I was piecing it when it did not have the interfacing. So once you get that pieced, oh, I think I put my wool mat back too far. I'm just going to press it just like I normally would if it was a block. I'm going to finger press it this way and then turn it. And there you go. Now it's adhered down, so I can now fold it this way. Make sure that you have your seams from the last sew allowance laying flat. And I'm just going to sew it right there on that edge. Be right back. All right, so now I've got this little 1/4 inch seam done, so I can kind of finger press it back. And then I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to use my pearl presser for this one because it's just a little bit thicker. Love this pearl presser. No more burnt fingers. Yay. And then once you get your block made, I always go back and get the rest of that interfacing off and square it up. So we get that off. If you have it within the 1/4 inch seam allowance, it'll be hid when you put your blocks together. But I like to go ahead and just get it all off. There. See, now by the front, You can hardly even tell there's some interfacing. This block was a little short, so you can see a little bit of it, but it would get caught in the 1/4 inch seam when I put, you know, another block together with it. But the main thing is look at the points, how that just comes together. And with it being so sheer, you really can't even tell that from the front you even have that interfacing on there. It is a great method. And like I said, you know, 4-patch is a little overkill to do it for a 4-patch. But when you have a massive block like this, and it's the same technique, just fold it, do your 1/4 inch, fold it, do your 1/4 inch, and then once you get all that done, you're going to press, and then you're going to turn it and do it the opposite direction. Let me show you a block of how it looks when it's done. Look at that. Look how gorgeous that is. And that's what it looks like on the back. But I hope this hack works for you. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at southernbobbin@gmail.com. I'll see you next time. Thanks.